You don't get what you want by screaming louder. You don't get it by trying harder. You get it when you finally stop needing it. That's the paradox. That's the power. The more desperately you chase, the further your goals drift away, like mist slipping through your fingers. But the moment you stand still, anchored in clarity, in discipline, in peace, that's when things begin to come to you. That's when doors open. That's when people listen. That's when life starts bending in your direction. The Stoics understood this over 2,000 years ago. They didn't teach us how to manipulate the world. They taught us how to master ourselves. And once you do that, the world responds. If you want everything you dream of to start happening to you, you don't need magic. You need ancient, brutal, unshakable wisdom. Let's begin. Secret 1, want less. It's not that you don't deserve more. It's that more, very often, is the thing that drowns you. We live in a world built on artificial hunger. Social media shows you someone else's success and makes you feel like you're behind. Advertisements are designed to convince you that your life is incomplete. Even conversations are infected with comparison. You don't just want what you truly need, you want what you've been told to want. But the Stoics saw through that illusion. Seneca wrote that, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." You can have everything and still feel like you're starving. Because the problem is not the size of your plate, it's the emptiness inside your mind. Wanting less isn't about asceticism. It's not about denial or punishment. It's about choosing deliberately. What actually matters to you? Have you ever stopped and asked? Most people haven't. They chase because everyone else is running. They collect goals like trophies but feel hollow when they win. Why? Because they never chose the game in the first place. The Stoic learns to want less not because he is weak, but because he is strong enough to pause. He clears away the clutter. He separates real value from noise. He doesn't need the approval of strangers, the envy of his peers, or the applause of the crowd. He needs only to live in alignment with what he believes is right. And that, ironically, is what makes him magnetic. People trust those who are not desperate. When you stop needing everything, you become powerful. You stop broadcasting hunger and start radiating conviction. You walk into a room, and people feel the difference. You don't have to convince anyone, you've already convinced yourself. That kind of presence attracts opportunities. Not because you begged for them, but because they fit the gravity of who you are. Secret 2, control your inner voice. You can't outrun your mind. No matter how much you achieve, no matter where you go, that voice inside goes with you. And for most people, it's not a friend, it's a saboteur. It whispers doubt before every action. It reminds you of your worst moments at the most critical times. It drowns your courage and then tells you it's being realistic. But here's the truth, your inner voice is trained. And if it was trained to attack you, it can be retrained to serve you. The Stoics were masters of that process. They knew that suffering comes not from events, but from your interpretation of them. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." That's not just philosophy, it's tactical wisdom. How do you change the voice? First, by noticing it. Noticing when it catastrophizes, when it spirals, when it talks in absolutes, always, never, impossible. The Stoic listens to that voice and challenges it. Not with lies, not with blind optimism, but with clarity. Is that true? Is this in my control? What's the next move? Second, by replacing it. Replacing panic with preparation. Replacing complaints with commands. Replacing, "I can't," with, "I will try." You train your voice the same way you train a body, through daily, deliberate effort. You read, you reflect, you speak better words until those words become automatic. Until the voice in your head becomes a leader, not a liability. Because when your inner voice is strong, you don't need the world to be perfect. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need circumstances to cooperate. You walk into any situation, and you carry your fortress with you, right inside your skull. People waste their lives waiting for external permission, waiting to be ready, waiting for motivation. But the Stoic doesn't wait, he commands. And that begins with mastering the voice no one hears but you. Secret 3, become immune to praise and blame. Imagine a man who only feels good when he's praised. Every time someone claps, he stands taller. Every time someone frowns, he shrinks. His emotions swing like a leaf in the wind, tossed by every compliment, every opinion, every careless comment. Now imagine a different man. He hears praise and doesn't get inflated. He hears criticism and doesn't crumble. He's steady, not cold, not indifferent, but calm, grounded. That is a Stoic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions. And that one sentence can free your entire life. Because the truth is, most people don't know what they're talking about. They project. They judge based on their mood, their background, their ignorance. They'll applaud you today and laugh at you tomorrow. They'll insult you out of jealousy, not truth. So why should you trust their voices more than your own? The Stoic secret is this: base your worth on virtue, not reputation. You know if you acted with courage. You know if you were honest, if you tried your best, if you stayed disciplined when no one was watching. That's what matters. The rest? Noise. If someone praises you, say, they are responding to an impression, not to the truth. If someone attacks you, say, that's their judgment, not my reality. And then, move on. Because the more you need approval, the more you can be controlled. The more you fear blame, the more easily you can be broken. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It means you filter it through reason. You listen, not to feel better or worse, but to grow. And if there's nothing useful in it, you discard it like trash on the road. You don't pick it up and carry it around. That's how you stay clean inside. That's how you keep your focus sharp. Remember, your destiny is not written by the crowd. It's shaped by your inner compass. Don't trade that compass for applause. Secret 4. Turn obstacles into fuel. Life is not fair. People lie. Plans fail. Your body breaks. The people you love disappoint you. And sometimes, it feels like the universe is working against you. That's where most people collapse. They get bitter. They complain. They retreat. The Stoic does something different. He sharpens his blade on difficulty. He uses pain as a teacher. He turns every setback into a forge for strength. Marcus Aurelius, during plague, war, and betrayal, wrote the words, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." It's not just poetic. It's a blueprint for power. Because every obstacle contains a hidden opportunity. If someone betrays you, you learn who's real. If you lose your job, you're forced to rebuild stronger. If you get rejected, you develop resilience. The world throws fire at you, and you use it to temper your steel. But here's the key: you don't wait for life to feel fair. You accept what comes with full courage. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" That simple shift takes you from victim to warrior, from helpless to prepared. This mindset doesn't mean you enjoy suffering. It means you refuse to waste it. Every time you're knocked down, you ask, "What can I build from here?" You become an alchemist, not turning metal into gold, but turning adversity into wisdom, discipline, and strength. And when people see that in you, when they see you rise without bitterness, act without drama, fight without panic, they start to wonder what you know that they don't. They respect you, trust you, follow you, because nothing is more powerful than someone who refuses to be broken. The Stoic knows, obstacles are not interruptions. They are the path. And the harder the path, the more unshakable you become. Secret 5, act, don't overthink. How many dreams have died in the mind before they ever had a chance in the world? How many lives were wasted in the fog of overthinking? You know the feeling: the more you think about doing something, the heavier it becomes. The more angles you consider, the more fear creeps in. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if I'm not ready? The Stoics didn't waste time on endless reflection. They prepared, yes. They thought clearly, yes. But once a decision was made, they acted. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple. Decisive. No spiral of second-guessing. No paralysis by analysis. Overthinking is a form of cowardice disguised as intelligence. It feels like control, but it's really a cage. The Stoic asks one question: is this in my control? If yes, he moves. If no, he lets go. That's how you stay alive inside. That's how you build momentum while others are still hesitating at the starting line. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." People spend their lives explaining, planning, waiting for the perfect moment. But perfection never comes. The Stoic knows that the perfect time is right now. Because action is clarity. You don't need to have all the answers. You need to take the first step. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Action builds confidence. It creates feedback. It teaches you faster than theory ever will. Stop asking, "What if it goes wrong?" Ask, "What's the next move?" You don't need certainty. You need movement. And the more you move, the clearer everything becomes. The Stoic isn't fearless. He just refuses to be frozen. He doesn't need to predict every outcome. He knows this. If it's the right thing to do, he'll do it. And if it isn't, he'll adjust. But he will not waste his life in the fog of indecision. Secret 6, stay unshaken by emotion. Emotions are powerful. They can lift you to the skies or drag you into the darkest pits. Anger, jealousy, despair, fear, these are storms that live inside you. And if you don't learn to master them, they will master you. The Stoics were emotional beings. They weren't robots. But they didn't trust emotions as guides. Why? Because emotions lie. They exaggerate, they distort, and in the heat of them, people do things they later regret. Seneca wrote, "A man who has given in to anger has ceased to be rational." That's not an opinion. It's a warning. The Stoic trains himself to feel, but not to obey those feelings blindly. He observes his emotion like a warrior watches a wild animal, with respect, with caution, with control. When you feel anger, you don't lash out. You pause. You ask, what is this anger trying to tell me? Is it justified? Is it useful? When sadness comes, you don't sink, you listen. You sit with it. You let it teach you, but you don't let it command you. This isn't suppression. This is sovereignty. Suppression is fear. Stoic discipline is courage. You face every emotion without flinching. You don't deny them, but you don't serve them either. They are guests in your house, not rulers of your mind. Think about how much damage uncontrolled emotion causes in the world. Wars begin because men can't control their rage. Families fall apart because pride gets in the way of forgiveness. Dreams die because fear whispers lies into people's hearts. The Stoic sees this, and says, not in my house. Not in my soul. How? Through daily training, through reflection, through journaling, meditation, silence. Through walking away when the emotion is loud, and returning when the mind is clear. Through breathing, through self-command. And here's the result, peace. Not fake peace. Not the absence of conflict. Real peace, born from strength. You become the person others lean on in crisis. The one who doesn't panic when things fall apart. The one who can be trusted, followed, respected. Because you are not ruled by storms. You are the sky behind them. Secret 7, own everything that happens to you. Most people spend their lives blaming their parents, their boss, their ex, the economy, the weather, their childhood, their genetics, their trauma. It's always someone else's fault, always something outside of them. But the Stoic rejects that lie. Epictetus, born a slave, crippled from youth, said, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can control how you respond." That is where your power lies. It's not just a quote, it's a revolution. It means, you are responsible for everything, not because you caused it, but because you're the one who has to live with it. And only you can decide what it will mean. This is the moment you reclaim your life. You stop asking the world to be different. You stop waiting for justice, fairness, luck. You take the reins. You say, this is what I've got. This is who I am. This is where I begin. That's ownership. And ownership changes everything. Because the second you say, this is on me, your energy shifts. You stop being helpless. You stop feeling like a victim of fate. You stop waiting for rescue. And you start building. You take every failure, every betrayal, every wound, and you mold it into strength. You mine the gold from your own suffering. It doesn't matter how bad it was. It matters what you do with it now. The Stoic doesn't ask for a different past. He forges a different future. With his own hands. With his own will. With his own heart. This level of responsibility terrifies people. But it will set you free. Because when you take full ownership, nothing can stop you. Everything that happens to you becomes part of your story. And you decide how that story ends. Secret 8, live according to nature. This is the deepest Stoic secret, and the hardest to understand. What does it mean to live according to nature? It means to live in alignment with what you were made for. To act with reason, with integrity, with courage. To do what is right, not what is easy. To follow your higher self, not your impulses. Nature gave you a mind to think, a will to choose, a soul to grow. But most people throw that away. They live in distraction, in comfort, in fear. They betray themselves daily, and call it success. But deep down, they know, something is wrong, something is missing. The Stoic looks at nature and sees purpose. A tree doesn't ask for approval, it grows. A river doesn't avoid obstacles, it flows around them. The sun doesn't hesitate to rise, it shines. That's the model. To live according to nature is to be who you are without apology. To rise each morning and say, what is my duty today? What is the right thing to do? What kind of person must I become? And then, to do it, whether anyone sees you or not, whether it's rewarded or not, whether it's hard or not. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. That is the Stoic path, not comfort, not pleasure, but truth, but virtue, but action. You want everything you dream of to come true, then live in a way that would deserve it, not in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of your own soul. That's the law, that's the blueprint. And here's the final truth, you were not born to chase. You were born to create, to lead, to embody something higher. You were born with the fire of reason and the strength of will, but you have to choose to use it. The Stoics left us no shortcuts, no wishful thinking, only the tools to become unstoppable. Want less, master your voice, let go of praise and blame, turn pain into power, act, control emotion, own everything, and live according to nature. Do this, and you will not need to chase what you want. It will start happening to you, because you will have become the kind of person to whom it belongs. And that is true freedom.